Have you ever looked at the walls of your apartment, the flickering fluorescent lights of your office, or the worn-out seat of your car, and realized with a jolt of terror that these decorations are too cheap, too fragile, and too small for the monumental drama unfolding within your own chest? You wake up, you brew your coffee, and you step out into a world that feels increasingly like a low-budget production. You talk to people whose dialogue feels recycled, whose aspirations feel scripted, and whose laughter sounds like a canned track from a show you never wanted to watch. You are moving through a reality that is fundamentally mismatched with the frequency of your soul. This isn't just boredom, and it certainly isn't a standard case of modern depression. It is the visceral, bone-deep realization that you are a main character who has somehow been written out of their own epic and forced into a mindless, repetitive side quest. You are overqualified for your own life. From the moment you were conscious, you felt an invisible weight, a silent promise that your life would be an odyssey. You were promised a narrative of consequence. You were promised battles that mattered, stakes that could shift the foundations of the world, or at least a sense that every step you took was etched into the records of eternity. You looked at the horizon and saw a destination, not just a line. But as the years stacked up, the epic was replaced by the mundane. The dragons you were meant to slay turned into spreadsheets, and the kingdoms you were meant to build turned into rent payments and social obligations. You feel a quiet, unshaking sense that your real life, the one you were truly forged for, is happening in a parallel dimension, a place of fire and meaning, and you are here, standing in line at a grocery store, invisible and forgotten by the very fate that called to you. The modern world is an expertly designed trap for the attention of the chosen. It functions on the principle of the side quest. These aren't just distractions. They are black holes for your divine energy. Social media, the corporate ladder, the endless pursuit of minor comforts. These are the white noise of the matrix, specifically calibrated to drown out the primordial roar of your true nature. We spend our best years building sandcastles in the shadow of a rising tide, convincing ourselves that if we just get that next promotion, that next follower, or that next upgrade, we will finally be ready to begin our real journey. But the trap is simple. The more energy you invest in the side quest, the less you have for the main story. You become a master of the trivial, an expert in the irrelevant. You are becoming the most efficient secondary character in a script written by someone who doesn't even know your name. There is a specific kind of suffering reserved only for those who can see through the veil. This is the curse of the chosen. While those around you find genuine contentment in the superficial, happy with their toys, their titles, and their temporary safety, you remain haunted. You are infected with potential. You cannot unsee the patterns of the world. You cannot ignore the hollow echo of a life lived for the sake of appearance. To others, potential is a compliment, a bright light for the future. To you, it is a debt that you cannot pay. It is a ghost that follows you into every room, pointing at the gap between who you are and who you could be. For the person of high potential, every moment of rest feels like an act of treason. Every hour spent in recreation feels like a crime against your own destiny. You are cursed to never be satisfied with enough because you know, with terrifying certainty, that you were meant for everything. If potential is not converted into action, it does not simply sit there, waiting for you. It rots. It turns inward and becomes a slow-acting psychological poison. The energy that was meant to build cathedrals and lead movements begins to eat away at your own mind. This is why you feel that constant, low-level anxiety. It is the sound of your own spirit cannibalizing itself for lack of a better target. When the fire inside you has no wood to burn, it starts burning the house. You experience a special kind of internal friction where your thoughts are moving at 1,000 miles an hour, but your physical reality is standing still. This disconnect creates a spiritual vertigo. You are a high-performance engine being used to power a lawnmower, and the vibration is threatening to shake you apart. You aren't broken. You are just vastly underutilized by the life you've allowed yourself to live. Close your eyes, and you can see them. They are standing just behind the veil of your current consciousness. The versions of you that actually did it. The version of you that took the risk. The version that moved to that city, started that project, or spoke that forbidden truth. These are the ghosts of your unlived lives, and they are your most cruel judges. They don't scream. They just watch you with a profound, silent disappointment. They whisper in the dead of night, asking, "Why are you wasting our time? Why are you holding the keys to our existence and refusing to turn the lock?" You fear starting your true path because no real, messy, flawed action can ever compete with the polished perfection of those unlived versions. You would rather stay in a mental prison where you are a potential god than step into the sunlight where you are a clumsy beginner. You have built the walls of your own cell using the bricks of someday. You tell yourself that you are waiting for a sign, waiting for the right market conditions, waiting for a moment of divine clarity where the path will be illuminated with neon lights. But the architecture of waiting is a masterpiece of self-sabotage. The universe is an inert, indifferent mechanism until it is provoked by a leap of faith. It does not provide the bridge before you reach the canyon. It only builds the bridge as your foot is already hanging over the edge. Your potential has become your prison because you have turned it into an idol. You worship the idea of your greatness while neglecting the reality of your current insignificance. You are waiting for the universe to give you permission to be yourself, not realizing that you are the one who issued the restraining order in the first place. Deep down, your greatest fear isn't failure. Failure is actually a relief. It's an answer. What you truly fear is mediocrity. You are so terrified of being just another human that you prefer to remain an unrecognized genius in your own head. As long as you don't try, you can still tell yourself that you could have been the greatest. The moment you try, you risk discovering your limits. This is why you sabotage your own progress. You stay in the potentially great category because it's safe. It's a comfort zone of arrogance. You have created an intellectual isolation where you rot in your own brilliance, refusing to engage with a world that might not appreciate your depth. But a ship in a harbor is safe, yes, but that is not what ships are for. And you were built to sail in storms that would sink an ordinary man. To truly escape the prison of potential, you must commit an act of spiritual suicide. You must kill the person you might be so that the person you are can finally take a breath. You have to burn the maps of the life you thought you would have. This is the most painful part of the awakening. Admitting that you have wasted time, admitting that you have been a coward, and admitting that you are starting from zero. You must shed the skin of the chosen one and accept the humble, dirty work of the apprentice. Freedom is not found in the absence of responsibility. It is found in the weight of a chosen burden. You have to stop being a spectator of your own possibilities and become a victim of your own choices. It is better to be a failed warrior than a successful ghost. Look at your hands. Look at the room around you. This is not your cage. This is your raw material. This is the sandbox of a god who has forgotten their power. The voice inside you that says you were born for more is not a lie. It is a directive. But that directive doesn't come with a map. It comes with a compass that only points toward struggle. The thirst you feel for a deeper meaning is your only real treasure in this hollow world. Do not try to quench it with the salt water of temporary success or social validation. Let it burn. Let that fire get so hot that it melts the bars of your someday and your maybe. The stage is empty. The audience of history is waiting. The stars, your ancestors, and the versions of you that never got a chance to exist are all watching. They are leaning in, holding their breath. Stop playing a supporting role in a tragedy of your own making. Stop waiting for the world to change and realize that you are the variable that changes the world. Rewrite the script. Pick up the sword. Move. Because the only true curse is to die with your music still inside you, forever a prisoner of what you could have been.